And I looked up, and one was like beating him, and one was just shooting him, shooting him, shooting. Say them New York dudes, man, they did make their way down here. Rest in peace to my man Coco. They killed Coco, another New York guy. Slang talking, DC was Slim, Holmes, Champ. You'll hear Dog sometimes. But what's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name Jimmy Green, and this is Tales of a DC 80s baby. You know, and I intend to tell my story to help the youth, adults, elderly, anybody that can relate to the things that I talk about and maybe can gather something from it, because me myself, I can learn from a child, you know. And I put no age limit or time frame on when new ideas and new perspectives and new ways of looking at things can come into play in my life. You know, the things that I've been through, I never really dealt with, never really addressed, never really talked about outside of now. So, you know, it's my pleasure to, you know, share my story and dig up some of the things that may be holding me back or may not be, you know. But I learn to deal with life as life comes. You know, I don't hold on to the past. You know, I try to learn from the past and try not to let it affect any of my moves if I can help it. But this is my story. I'm gonna take you back to 1987, 88, when Washington D.C. was at an all-out mayhem. You can literally smell death in the air. You can smell the violence. You can feel the tension, the constant tension in the air. And I could say my family did everything they could do, you know, at the time to prevent the things that transpired to the best of their abilities. You know, my mother and father was married and still married to this day. And this is no disrespect or dishonor to the efforts that they took as parents to try to give me the best situations. It's just where life landed us sometimes. And sometimes where life lands you, man, you got to do what you got to do. You got to make the best decisions at that time. And sometimes the best decisions may not have the best outcomes. And that's cool too. But DC was crazy. I'm going to give you the first time I've ever seen an attempted murder. And this day was crazy. And for those that know Washington, D.C., I stayed at 885 Chesapeake Street, Southeast, apartment 202, the first building right off of Southern Avenue. And I can tell you that one block was in between the jungle, man. That one block was in between Waller, Valley Green, and then you had Chesapeake, then you had 4th Street. So it was in between a hellhole, man. I was actually going to Henley Elementary School at the time. And this day was just weird all around, man. And I can recall it was the summertime, and at this time the New York guys had already came down into the particular area where I was living at. But this story isn't about them. I'm gonna go into that at a later day. But this is the first time I've actually witnessed the beef, the dissension between the DC and New York guys. And I got a lot of love for a few dudes from New York, man, that I looked at as older brothers. And that's a whole nother story I'm gonna get into a little later. But this day my father had I just got a bike, man. And I was kicking it with my man Dante Carter. Big shout out to my man. And I let my man Ern ride my bike. And as he turning the corner, if you know that particular block, you go down and you can make a left, and it's the trash cans right there as you make the left and go through that little intersection between the two buildings. And Aaron jumped off the sidewalk with my bike and got hit by a conversion van. And when I heard him get hit, man, it scared the hell out of me. So I stopped. And when I heard him scream, I said, okay, he alive. So as I started walking, he was running back around, but his pants and everything was off. He was like bloody from head to toe, but his legs was stood out to me. Like the skin on his legs was just completely gone. So he ran straight past me. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Ran upstairs to his mother house. So I followed him up. And he was just on the ground, like breathing real hard, saying he don't want to die. He don't want to die. And come to find out, that was my man Dante Carr, the stepfather, who had hit him. So I'm like, damn, my man got hit. My brand new bike then got crushed. So I'm feeling some type of way. I'm like, man, shit. So time went on. I'm in the house playing Nintendo. My mother say, go meet your father. He about to get off, because for those that know, it was a McDonald's right across the street from the building back in the 80s. And I go across the street. My father just getting off. I'm right outside the McDonald's. And he get off. We walk across the street, but a car pull up. And as the car pull up, he pulls across the street where our building is. Like right on not on the corner, but a little down, because it wasn't the gates that's out there now. It was just like a regular little black gate. And dude by the name of Orlando Centennial, look him up. He got out the car. Him and my father favored each other a whole lot. He said, what's up, Jim? What's up, little Jim? So I say, what's up, man? So I say, Dad, who is this? He was like, what's up, Souls? I'm Orlando. And he dapped me up. So he grabbed my father, shook his hand, and he said, Jim. And I heard him, because he was kind of light, didn't really hide what he was telling him. He said, listen, man, don't be out here in 5 minutes. I'm getting ready to come through here, and I ain't doing no playing. And at that age, I was about 6. I didn't know what he meant. I didn't know what he was talking about. I never seen no gunplay at this particular time. I seen it on TV, but I never seen it in real time. And this is no lie. Before we got across the street, this guy get in this car, but he got in the passenger seat, because I kept my eyes on him, because I felt something because of the energy behind the statement. And I knew the New York dudes, they hustled across the street where Linda Poland was, but it was a wall over there where they used to sit at, and I'm not gonna say the names at this particular time, because that don't matter. But what occurred, man, was crazy, because the ambulance was like half a block down, and this motherfucker turned his corner. And he had some guns straight out of the movies, man, because I remember they was chrome, and he dead now, so I can talk about this. So, you know, young guy, like in his 20, if that, he comes out of the sunroof with these 2 machine guns. And I mean, the flame out that, the flame, let me tell you, came out the front of it at least a foot. And I mean, that it was so crazy how fast he turned that corner, and how within 15 seconds it was over. But the amount of damage that was done was just out of this world. I can remember a guy running with a hole in his back. You saw the paint that the bullet put the hole in. Running toward the ambulance. And at that time, we was going in the building. I just so happened to turn around and witness the guy after the effect. And it was just crazy, man. And I didn't really understand how to react to it, because I didn't hear no screaming and I didn't hear no yelling. I didn't really hear no panicking. I just saw dudes asking other guys, "You hit? You alright? This and that." But come to find out, none of the New York dudes got hit. DC dudes got hit. And that was the beginning of the end of peace in my life, I can say. Without any doing of my parents, as far as their intentions, I might say, because I would never dishonor my parents. But that was the end of my peace, man, around that neighborhood. You know, yeah, it's a lot of things that I'm going to go into. But what I learned from doing that whole episode, and how I, after I got older and I asked my father, certain questions, man, and I had put it all together, he said, man, I had no reason to panic, and what I asked him, well, what if the dude started shooting back? Because we was in a line of fire. We was right on the opposite side of the car as he turned the corner. It wasn't 5 minutes. It was more like 50 seconds after he said that, and I got to, after growing up and, engaging guys that move in that particular way, it's an addiction, to some of these guys, man, where war is it releases the same mental chemicals as a drug do, when you become addicted to that particular line of work. You can ask anybody that play that game, you either gonna do one or two things, hate it or love it, and the majority of the guys that I've encountered love that shit, and that's the first story, and if I could say anything to the youth, man, if I could say anything to the adults, if I could say anything to anybody that's willing to listen, be your own man. Don't allow the streets to dictate the image you want to have for yourself. Because a lot of guys that I know that move in that particular way, I wouldn't trade my worst days for their best days. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Next time, I'm gonna give y'all the first murder I seen. Stay tuned. Peace, love, and blessings, man. Stay positive. Be yourself. Be your own brand. Be your own boss, man, and do what you can. Peace, love. Y'all be cool.